this is Persephone. Today I want to talk to you about the YouTuber called Selby exists and makes things. I usually don't talk about other YouTubers. You may say that I'm staying in my lane, but I found her case extremely interesting, both as a person and as a cautionary tale, and also as a reason for us to think and discuss some things with my audience. Before we start, I want to tell you that I have no ill will or hatred towards Shelby or anyone mentioned in this video. I don't know her personally, and as a fellow chronically ill person that I also deal with ulcerative colitis, arthritis, CPTSD from extreme narcissistic parents, I sympathize with a lot of her struggles in her videos. So this is not about hating at all. If anything, I want nothing more for people who have narcissistic parents and abusive parents to escape their situation, and for people who are lonely to find companionship and love if this is what they wish. The reason why I became interested in her case is because I was bullied into being interested by the algorithmic gods of YouTube. That there was a day where every time I opened my YouTube channel, Selby was being recommended to me. Recommended is an understatement. Pushed, forced fed. Every new video was on my timeline. And at first I didn't think much of it because I'm thinking like, okay, let's watch a few videos to see what this woman is talking about. And she had some very interesting points about autism, about loneliness, about how fake modern society is. And at first I really liked her content. I was thinking like, wow, this person is a thinker, that she understands what she's talking about, and it was refreshing to see some videos that usually on YouTube this type of content isn't very popular. But unfortunately things went awry quite fast. Everything that I'm saying is my personal opinion on her content and also my opinion on her audience as an adult content creator, and I don't blame Selby for that. The first thing is, as one privileged white person to another privileged white person, it's okay to feel wronged, it's okay to feel abused. We all deal with our own demons, but at the same time, we have to have at least one foot on reality. So the way I see it, Selby is mind-blowingly privileged. That she's clearly above middle class, and I can tell the signs that you have your own art room. First of all, most people who struggle with money live in very small homes, that they don't have things like art rooms, walk-in closets, private gym, man caves, and so on. Second, you claim that your parents were abusive, but your parents let you study art. And this is something I'm deathly envious, and I'm not ashamed to admit it because my parents were abusive, and I was always bullied and harassed into studying things that I don't want, to the point that I had to break away from them because I was going to be forced to be a tutor otherwise. That my parents were extremely misogynist, extremely patriarchal, and they wanted women to be in the kitchen and do feminine jobs, and they think that the woman should work and be like something feminine, like a tutor or a nurse or an elementary school teacher or maybe a language teacher, and that's about it. And then they would say, we want you to become a teacher, to then become a public servant, and have time to go home to cook for your husband and your kids. And that was being said to me when I was like 15, and I was thinking, yeah, but I hate being a tutor, I hate school, I was bullied in school, there is no amount of money that you could give me to go back to school. So are you telling me to do a job I absolutely despise for the sake of people who don't even exist yet, that I don't even know if I'm going to have a husband and get married? So yeah, non-existing people were more important than my mental health. I was nothing. For narcissists, I was nothing. So when I see someone saying my parents paid and paid and paid for me to fulfill my dream, I'm sorry, honey, you don't have it hard. At least compared to 99% of the population, you don't have it hard. I don't say this to invalidate your pain or your struggles, but sometimes putting things into perspective helps us feel less bad. I'm not innocent in this. Like, I'm the first person who's going to admit that in coming and in OnlyFans, white privilege exists. I had men who came and gave me money simply because I was white and they wanted to see me naked. If that's not privilege, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying to do the same, but I'm just saying that count your blessings. It helps with depression, it helps with a lot of things, cliche as that may sound. The second thing that really bothered me about her channel was that there is no punchline and there is no self-improvement. I say this as one content creator to another. You are treading with a very dangerous narrative. You are setting the bar too high for yourself, because yes, there is tremendous potential in being the underdog, and people will actually support the underdog, but then the underdog has to fight and it has to win. That when you say, I'm crying and I'm going to be homeless and I want to make money, in the next episode, you're kind of turning your life into an anime story or a movie or a TV series. And have you watched a movie where the hero remains sick for 5 seasons, 100 episodes, or where the hero remains divorced and lonely for 20 episodes? No one is going to watch that. So when you are saying that I am in this situation, then you set up yourself and your audience for expectations that, oh guys, here is an update, I applied for a job, hey guys, first day at my job, and so on. And you don't do that. So your content becomes repetitive and stale pretty fast, which again, it's not your fault. I'm not saying that you should turn your life into reality TV, but if you want the big YouTube bucks, that's what's expected of you. Whether you like it or not, I learned, being a few years more than you in this business, that many people operate on archetypes and narratives, and they will want to see that because we're all human, and you look for people who were dealing with what you dealt with, and they hit themselves. Like, I'm looking at people who had ulcerative colitis and they are marathon runners now because I love to run and because I want to continue to run. I'm not going to look at someone who has ulcerative colitis and he's in a wheelchair when I was in the wheelchair, because that's not inspiring. That doesn't give me anything. It just makes me depressed for both me and the other person. So how long are you going to regurgitate the same content? You need to have a plan if you want to get the money to get out of your parents' house. The third thing is, and I'm sorry to say that, no contact with narcissistic parents has become a largely impossible concept for many people of millennials and Generation Z, like sufferers. I say that after being very upset with therapists, and they say just go no contact. Bro, every time I get hospitalized, they call my parents as next of kin. So unless I marry the next random man to be my next of kin, I'm chained to them. There is no law that you can legally divorce your mother. I tried. And yes, it's important to talk about all that stuff, but you can't, on the other hand, ignore the fact that if you really want these people to not bully you, you have to be independent from them. That I don't know what kind of problems your mother has when you live in her house, but the only way that I found to not be abused by my monstrous mother is to make my own money. So when I see someone sitting every day in their art room, crying, but they don't have to get a job, that screams privilege to me. That, is your mom so awful? Because let me tell you, you wouldn't survive a week in my house. You can't sit in a room and cry with my mother. She's going to come to the room to bully you, to verbally abuse you, to hit you, to call you names, to give you food that is going to make you sick. I'm a victim of Munchausen by proxy. So is your mom really that bad? And if she is, why isn't getting any job your first priority? The second thing that I need to comment on when it comes to Shelby is her very suspicious audience. I'm having some bad news for you, and that is that your audience consists of men who want to date you. They want you to pity date them, and they think that you're going to be great together. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Shelby, if you watch this, I think that she started the channel with the best of intentions to find like-minded people going through the same, or to see is there anyone out there thinking this. There is nothing wrong about that. It's actually quite noble, and your struggle may help other people feel better. But trust me, I learned the hard way that men will only see it, many men, not all of them, will see the sloppy way, the lazy way, and the shortcut way. For example, I started posting videos about specific fetishes or specific problems or specific things that I wanted to explore, because I was one of these people who grew up alone and terminally online because of autism, and I wanted to encourage people to be themselves. Like, if you are neurodivergent, just be yourself. If you're bisexual, it's okay to explore that. If you are a man and you're not like the epitome of masculinity and you are more quiet, or you are not the strongest, or you don't look exactly how the beauty standards for men tell us you should look, it's okay, you should embrace that. Or if you want an unconventional relationship as a man, you should embrace that. Or supporting the men who have AI girlfriends. And none of that worked. What men saw was, hey, I want a girlfriend, I found you online, you look cool, you accept me, so I'm just going to date you and my problems are going to be solved. So when I had an OnlyFans, I was contacted by literally dozens of men who said, let's just date. I found you, I agree with your videos, let's just date. And first of all, I'm not an AI, at least not yet. I don't have my own AI, so I can date hundreds of different men. Second, I don't know you and I don't want to date you. When this mess was happening, I was dating someone else, so I wasn't even single. And most importantly, I consider this a lazy mindset, that I'm not here to enable loser men. Because if you say, hey, I'm going through all of these struggles, but I'm not going to fix anything about myself, I'm just going to date you, that's crazy. That's pathetic, insane, and it's going to fail. So I think this is what happened to Shelby. She attracted all of these people giving donations, and when she made the video criticizing incels, they gave her a strike, and now I'm pretty convinced her channel is shadow banned. I also asked her in a comment before I made this video because I don't want to spread misinformation, and she confirmed it, because all of the growth has abruptly stopped, and also because her videos used to be recommended to me every day, and I'm autistic. I watch every video from start to finish, sometimes more than once, or I have headphones when I'm streaming or doing something else. So I was a very dedicated viewer. So if YouTube hides the videos from me, that I was borderline stalking the channel, and I have to look for Selby or I can't find her, she is buried in the rumble of forgotten, deemed, doomed YouTubers and people who were made redundant according to the YouTube algorithm. And that is something that has happened to me in the past. I also had gotten a strike because of some stupid drama with closeted homosexual people that hated me, and we were in some kind of unnecessary online dating, and it took over a year to recover, and I had to make videos that I knew would get views to get my channel back on track, even though I didn't want to talk about these things. It wasn't a priority. So Selby, if you watch this, you can recover this, but it sets your income and your brand months and months back. So I'm really sorry this happened. I'm just saying that to the men who are watching this channel and they are Selby's quote-unquote fans, you have to get your shit together. I'm really sorry. It's time to put on big boy pants, because these dead-end videos, this dead-end self-care is self-sabotage. That yes, I fully embrace radical acceptance, saying if you're fat, own it. Like Gogin says, I looked in the mirror and I told myself I was fat and I couldn't be a Marine, and if I wanted to be a Marine, I had to lose the weight. Yes, be honest with yourself. Don't suffer from kick psychosis, femdom psychosis, and AI psychosis. I'm going to talk about this type of psychosis that I coined the terms for the first two in future videos. So that's great, but what are you going to do about that? Because unfortunately, unless you have super rich parents that they're about to pass away soon and give you a fortune, society is very cruel for men. See, Selby is still talking from a place of white privilege, and I'm going to ask you, when a man makes the same video, don't you think there is huge backlash? Just think of the reverse. A man who is a failed artist in his mom's basement, he wouldn't be getting any donations, and the comments would be much, much, much more harsh. That's the world we live in. I don't agree. I believe this should change, and I believe that mental health for men is important, but currently that's what we deal with. So if you're watching and you hate Selby, please don't give her strikes because of what she says. And I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to like. When you start being sexually harassed by crazy men, you go through a stage of starting to hate them. It's human reaction. Someone harasses you, you start to hate. So I think she started making these incel videos because that's my assumption. Maybe some people started to harass her. Long story short, this was a huge mess. I'm really sad because I know very few people who started to make their own income, especially online, to get out of their parents' home. So I was also watching kind of excited, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. If it wasn't for the adult content, I would probably also be not in my mom's room, in prison maybe, I don't know, or in the street, or being in some relationship just to have a place to stay and offering, paying rent in other ways. So I'm very grateful to the men who actually buy my sites that I have on my website and watch my videos and buy virtual gifts and all of that stuff. I would never shame them. On the other hand, I'm aware that sometimes you have to be truthful to people and tell them, hey, I don't want to move in with you. And every time I say to this man, I don't want to move in with you, I lose hundreds of dollars. So it's a very fine line, being honest without being homeless, but at the same time without attracting stalkers, because people get into parasocial relationships. I've also been in plenty, especially with K-pop idols and other stars, And it's very easy to start thinking, hey, I know this person, we would be so good together, and then it all comes crashing down. So Selby's audience felt betrayed. I get it. This shows how fragile and fickle the YouTube business is. I would be making a lot more YouTube videos, but this whole thing demotivates me, that it takes a bunch of angry people and one strike for your income to go down the drain. That's pretty exploitative. And this means that you need to diversify your income and never have all of your eggs in one basket. And also, the higher you rise, the faster a number of enemies you will get. There were times I was also angry at Selby. I admit that there was a time when she made a video crying about going to be homeless, when I was very sympathetic, and then the video was deleted and there was no mention of that. And like, what are you doing? You have to understand, either YouTube is going to be your personal diary, which I do not recommend, you're going to attract stalkers. This comes from someone who has been oversharing for years, to the point that people are saying, hey, your video helped me in 2018. And I'm like, oh, wow, thank you, that's great, I'm happy for you. And I have no idea what I've been talking about, because I've been talking shit on the internet for years and I lost track. So don't let this happen to you. I'm just saying, you have to make up your mind. If you want the money to get out of your house, you have to start treating this like a business, which means figuring out what your audience wants. And your audience wants hope. They want to see you fight and get out of the house. As long as you regurgitate the same content about how horrible life is, that's demoralizing and people are going to leave, and you are going to be left with the cream of the crop of stalkers, delusional parasocial fans. And I saw someone calling Selby 3 out of 10. When you start getting into the type of men who are putting numbers on women's looks, it's game over. These men don't have any money, they only have psychosis, and they're going to just destroy your channel because they feel entitled to, because their life is online. They really, really are in a terrible situation, and they're going to just drag you down with them. So this is all for now. I'm happy if you watched this video, thank you. If you like my content, you can also subscribe to me. I'm going to list Selby's channel in the content, like in the comments below. So if you want to go and give her a subscribe or support her or like her videos and you are from my audience, you are more than welcome to do so. We support other creators here, even though we may have conflicting feelings about them. And let this be a cautionary tale, because I'm really fed up with the usual, hey, just make a YouTube channel and make money online, bro. Why don't you have any money? You don't know how hard it is.